Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we're doing another side-by-side camera comparison between the iPhone 6s Plus and the Galaxy Note 5. So when it comes to photo taking, these two are going to be two of the best cameras out there. I must say, Apple has really stepped up their camera game this year compared to last year. It really is a noticeable difference. So first and foremost, I have to say that. And in the first glance at these two photos, actually, the iPhone 6s Plus looks even a little bit better just because it doesn't have that light reflection that was captured on this Note 5. However, as we come into the photo on both of these, let's zoom in about the same distance on both. We can see that the iPhone really didn't pick up as much, especially when it comes to detail all around the building itself. It did a good job overall when it came to preserving the overall shade of the building, and it did do a really good job of lighting up the street. But when it comes to the actual image of the building itself, it just didn't do as well in details. And this is pretty noticeable more so in terms of the numbers right here. They're just nowhere near as clear as we'll see in a second with the Note 5. But overall, just a huge improvement from last year, where this would have been all dark on the iPhone 6 compared to last year's version. Now on the Note 5, though, you do get a lot more lighting in this area. So, and this was taken a different day. So even though we don't have as many lights here, you can see the lights that can. You can see it very clearly, and you can see the numbers very easily in this shot. And that just shows you that it keeps the detail even in the cars in here and on the side. It keeps the detail a lot more compared to the iPhone, and obviously picked up a lot more light. Although it did create a lens flare, it did pick up a lot more light when it comes to the overall building itself, so you can see more in the building. Now, overall, when it came to these two, it would be a tie just because I feel the initial impression would be better from the iPhone 6. So for an overall landscape shot, I think people would like this photo much better. However, definitely if you're trying to crop a photo, the Note 5 picks up a lot more detail in the shot than the iPhone did. Not to mention it's still obviously the wider angle between the two. And that's more noticeable in the following shots. So in low light, I would say they are actually a tie, which is pretty impressive considering the Note 5 dominated the iPhone 6 Plus last year. All right, now in this shot, we'll notice a flip-flop between these next two shots, actually. In this one, I felt the iPhone did a better job of keeping the natural light of the photo, whereas the Note 5 did a little bit of an overexposure. And in the next shot, we'll see that reverse, where the iPhone 6 Plus did a little bit of an overexposure, and the Note 5 kept a little bit of light difference. Why this is, I'm not really sure. I did trim down the Note 5 so we could zoom in more easily, because the Note 5 did capture a lot more on the side. But just so for our purposes here, we can see this. Now remember, this is the detailed category. So we're going to compare just how each one captured details. So overall, again, the iPhone did a huge improvement between last year and this year. Stuff like this would have not been able to be seen from last year's iPhone. It just didn't pick up that good detail with the 8-megapixel camera. And this did a much better job. You can see the 4TB USB 3.0. You can kind of see the Sphero here, and I want you guys to take note of how easily you can see it, because that's going to be the big difference in the next photo. And the BB-8, you can see that. You can see the D3 station external hard drive 3-year. And you can pretty much see most of these titles fairly good. Some have a little bit of fade off within them, especially ones with more white in them. But overall, it does a good job. Now, when we zoom in that same amount on the Note 5, however, we can just see a lot clearer. And this is where the brightness helps the Note 5 as well. Things like the external hard drive, especially the Sphero here, just every text and shape is a lot more pronounced. And you can see that even in the games as well. Just they look a lot clearer and sharper on here, especially ones that the iPhone didn't pick up as much as well. It's just a lot clearer between these two. So although Apple did do a big step up from their 8 megapixel to their 12 megapixel, the Note 5 overall just picks up better clarity in terms of detail. Now, when it comes to the color reproduction, you really have to be a stickler to see this color reproduction. And again, in this photo, the iPhone 6s overexposed, whereas the Note 5 did more of a correct brightness exposure to light. But when we go down to the color, these are really close, actually, which I found very interesting. Now, with the exception of the carpet, which Apple keeps messing up my carpet for some reason, you can see this on every past video. It's for some reason it keeps messing up the carpet, and the wall color, where the Note 5 just definitely gets these two much better. Really, with the color reproduction, there isn't much of a difference. The only real noticeable difference is in the middle board game, where you can definitely see a better difference in terms of the color between white, beige, and then white again, whereas here it kind of blends in more so on the iPhone 6s. So just important to note that overall with this, it just didn't get it. And this again is where you notice the detail. You can just see the image is a lot better with the contrast than it is here and picking up the details. And again, that's just because the Note 5 does have better details. Overall, though, for the rest of the color gamut, it's really, I mean, the greens look very similar. The orange, yellow, red looks very similar here. Blue looks a little bit better here, but again, you'd be hard pressed to see a lot of differences. The black definitely picked up better here on the glove. That is one thing I will say, that when you look at the glove, it definitely, you can't tell a lot of the white and the black just don't contrast, whereas here it definitely does. You can just see a lot more detail in it. Overall, though, again, this just shows that Apple really picked up to being a very close second to the Note 5 camera, which beforehand it was a night and day difference. Now it's fairly close. And finally, the selfie. This is where Apple took a plunge in the quality difference in still comparison. Yes, Apple now has a 5 megapixel camera, and I did take 2 selfies with the iPhone. The one that was the better selfie was the one with the flash. I had it on auto, and it felt it needed it, so I took it. And then I thought, well, to be a fair comparison, let me turn the flash off. Let me turn the flash off and live photo off to see, and actually did a better job with the light. Also, by the way, live photo was off on the low light photo too, because Apple does take a better quality low light photo if you turn that off. So that is important to note for the low light comparison that was done earlier. Now, when we go to here, though, we can really see that the difference is going to be, though, dramatic. Now, as most of you guys have seen this channel before, you know that this is the under-over test, where we see if it underexposes here, giving it a much grainier and what's called noise look, and where here, where you normally can't see the rail. Now, this picked up much better on this year's iPhone compared to last year's, as where you couldn't see the railing at all. But when you compare it to the Note 5, not only is it a much wider shot, as here it cuts off, and the Note 5, you can just see how much more you can get in the shot at the same exact position, same exact distance. You just get so much more in your shot. But it just handles the brightness at the top very well, while still being able to control the noise level here at a much greater rate than any camera we have yet to see. So yes, overall for selfies, you easily want to go with the Note 5. All right, guys, so that's the camera comparison, where the low light was going to be called the draw, just for the better overall landscaping, going to the iPhone 6s Plus, whereas the better overall detail in the photo going to the Note 5. Details just are the continuing factor, where the Note 5 definitely beats the iPhone 6s Plus. Color reproduction is a lot closer, but again, the Note 5 does take it, where it just does a few colors a bit better. And definitely when it comes to selfies, the Note 5 takes it. All right, guys, hopefully you did like this video. If you did, please give a like, thumbs up down below. Which one did you like more? Which photos did you like more? And which other kind of photo categories might you like to see? Thank you for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.